Live streaming. Seems like everybody's doing it these days. And it doesn't have to be that hard. The hardest part is getting over your own inhibitions. In this video, I'm going to show my setup and how I live stream, some of the equipment I use and devices, and maybe that'll inspire you to start your own live stream. Of course, the most obvious thing you can use to live stream is probably the thing that you're watching this video on, your phone. However, if you're watching this video, you're probably wanting to do a little bit more professional type of stream than you can do with a phone. I'm going to go over some of the bare minimum of equipment that you need to do a more professional style live stream. The first thing you'll want is an old PC. Just about anything will work. This is an old tower from about 2014, and for all the nerds out there, I'll leave a link to the specs in the description. You want to use a PC because it has a little bit more horsepower than, say, a Chromebook or such, but it doesn't have to be a highly spec'd machine. It'll just make things easier for the next few steps. Now, the camera doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm using this Logitech C920, but any camera over $30 or so will do the job. Just don't cheap out on the camera, like the one in the background. As far as the audio goes, you can use the built-in microphone on the camera in this setup. The single camera setup is just that. Camera plugged in one USB port and setup pointed to what you want to film. In this case, it'll just be my hands. And like mentioned earlier, the audio will be picked up by the internal microphones on the camera. The multi-camera setup is just that. Just adding more cameras onto your setup. Of course, you're going to need a little bit better processor the more cameras you add, but theoretically you could add as many as you want. Just set them up so it's showing what you want out of each angle. In this case, I'm giving myself two options so my viewers can see each side of this carburetor. Now, there's a lot of streaming softwares out there. Most of them are all free or have a free option. I choose OBS. It's one of the most widely used for people who live stream, especially on YouTube and Twitch. It's very easy to use, very customizable. There's a lot of options, and I'm not going to go through everything in this video, but we'll show some basics here. One question you might have is, what does the streaming software do, and why do I need it? It takes the audio, video, and any graphics you may want to put up on your stream, encodes them, and sends them out onto the internet. When you're first setting up OBS, you're going to want to add a scene, preferably like an intro scene, and add some inputs. Here we got some text that say, "Welcome to the live stream." You click on the plus sign. This is where you're going to add your inputs, for example, like your webcam and your microphone. And this is where you can also adjust all the properties. And this is where you go into the overall stream settings. Depending on the platform that you're going to use, you're going to use a different stream key. And as you can see here, you can stream on many different platforms, and this is where you would choose them and set them up. Every platform is different. You're going to want to use different settings for different platforms. Other videos out there on the internet can help you with this. I choose to use Restream so I can stream on multiple platforms at one time. And what about those platforms? They all set up a little bit differently, but they have a lot of things in common. For example, the stream key. It's kind of like your own personal unique password for getting your data up onto their server. Now that we have all the technical stuff out of the way, let's show you how I got all this stuff set up and how I use it and how I run it. Here's an example of my intro screen that I sometimes use, but I like to mix it up, and you should too. The benefit of using an intro scene is that you can start your stream but get other things ready in the background, and it lets your viewers sort of settle in and get ready. Here's an example of my single camera setup. Very simply, it's just showing me working, and I have a monitor right above the camera where I can see the chat live and watch what it's doing and answer questions as I go. Now here's an example of my dual camera setup. I have sort of a picture-in-picture going on here, so you can see a nice tight shot, a nice wide shot, and then I can change via the scene from wide to tight shots so the viewers can see what I'm doing much easier. Up until now, all you've seen me talk about is just the cameras and different camera setups and how you can use it. But we've done nothing about the audio. Right now, we'd be just using the audio that comes right out of the camera. But I suggest you upgrade to some kind of microphone, and here's a couple that I use. The various microphones I've used over the years have changed, and it also depends on the setup and what I am doing at the time. First up is my USB microphone. It's what I'm using to record this audio, so hopefully it sounds pretty good. Next is my shotgun mic. That's what I do when I want to set it overhead. I'm going to be talking at the camera, or I'm hooking it up directly to my camera for recorded videos. Next is my lav mic, which has a wireless receiver and transmitter that I plug into the mic input jack on the PC, and they sync up, and I clip it to my shirt and then use a little bit of a filter, and it generally provides the best audio for live streaming in my setup. And that's about it. As you can see, live streaming doesn't have to be that hard. The hardest part, of course, is getting over your own inhibitions, but that's not something that I can teach you in a video. Anyway, like this video, subscribe, ring that bell, follow me on other social media platforms, and also check out my website and all the links in the description. There's a lot of good videos and information down there, and a link to all the specs about the PC I use to live stream out of my garage. So, until next time, thanks for watching.